Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to our Monday night team Zoom. My name is Harlequin Murray, and as always, I am your co-host this evening, and I get the honor and privilege of um, our introducing Ellen Winn, who is our senior team leader. Um, and just to let you guys know, or for those of you who are new here this evening who have never joined us before, welcome. We're glad you've joined us and we're excited to see you here. But anyways, a little bit about Ellen for those of you who are new, because I see we've got a couple of new people on here. Ellen is from the Atlanta area. She grew up on her family farm in Dallas, Georgia, and went on to have a restaurant career, and she was in that industry for many years. She ended up working at Domino's and was in upper management and did training for them. And then she ended up opening up her own restaurant. So she had a couple of pizza restaurants, excuse me, that she created on her own. They were not Domino's restaurants, they were her own restaurant. And so she's been a business owner and knows how to run a business. She also was introduced to network marketing many years ago. I actually got to meet her mentors the other day, which was really fun and exciting. But her original mentors. But anyway, she's got a very strong background in network marketing. And when I met her over 18 years ago, she was the national training director for a network marketing company. So she's got a strong background in training as well, and we're excited that she gets to train us. But without further ado, Miss Ellen, are you ready and available to go?
I am. Let me get off of or onto camera here and put my phone on mute. All right, 1 second. Hey everybody, how we doing tonight? Good to see y'all. Glad that you're here. Thank you for that introduction, Harlequin. And yes, she did get to meet my original mentors. In network marketing, I've had a lot of coaches and a lot of great trainers and mentors over the years, but you always want to pick those people that you really resonate with and that they are leading with good ethics and are doing the right things and have a strong skill set to teach. And that's what I've done along the years. So what I do today, the coaching that I do with you guys are skills that I've learned over the years, just watching other people. So if you don't already have a pen and paper, go ahead and grab one because I'm going to go through some stuff that you're going to definitely want to take some notes tonight. I'm going to get us kicked off in screen share mode, go through some slides that I've put together. And you should see our BizOps slide there, Harlequin. Looking good? Okay, awesome. And just for those of you that are new and have not been here on a Monday Zoom, we do these every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, allowing those of you in my team, and we've got some folks that join us from outside the team. We have quite a few people that watch this on the replay because the timeline just doesn't work. But I do these giving you an opportunity to ask questions live. DAC Corporate does trainings and Zooms on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday during the day. But many people are working part-time jobs or full-time jobs during the day and can't attend during those hours. So this evening Zoom opens up, gives an opportunity for those of you that are more readily available in the evenings. Here in the very near future, maybe this week, we're going to start doing some business opportunity presentations throughout the week, one or two. And the number of those that I do is really going to depend on you guys, whether you show up or not. Okay. And whether you show up with guests, if y'all will pack the room and if y'all will commit to showing up for a live BizOp presentation, I'll start doing those for our team. You know how we do them on Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, David does them. I have that short presentation, similar the slides that we have on the short presentation on our partner page now, and I'm happy to go through that live, do a less than 30-minute presentation, even open up for question and answer at the end of that. If you guys, again, will commit to bringing guests to start recruiting and putting people into your funnel to build your DAC agency. But again, for those of you that are here for the first time, I like to really start off with a couple of slides about DAC, who we are, and the upside of business ownership with DAC, all simplified without any risk whatsoever, because our business is free. Now, DAC is an 8-year-old company. We're based out of Michigan. So everything that you see time-wise when there's a meeting announced or when there's a Zoom announced, is most likely going to be posted in Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast, just outside of Atlanta, as Harlequin explained. Michigan is the East Coast, and our funding office is in Greenville, South Carolina. So we operate on East Coast time for our corporate team here. DAC has a proven track record, 8 years, profitable every year. They've been building and laying the foundation, getting systems in place internally, support teams in place, finding the right partners. You know, DAC is really a marketing company. We don't own any of the services that we market. However, we do own our funding platform, and I'm going to go into some great detail on that tonight. So again, make sure you got a pen and paper. I'm going to go through an updated funding app sequence that has recently been updated and show you a couple of things that you want to know, especially since we've got a big promotion going on right now about funding. But putting those systems in place, DAC as a marketing company, we've been picking and choosing the right partners for us to have the right services to market at the right price point that pays the right commissions to us, so that we can, DAC can pay those commissions out to the field. Now, I'm not a corporate employee. I don't get paid any other way than you guys do, and that's through our compensation plan. I just earn more because I'm moved on up and through the ranks, and my goal is to help you guys do the very same thing. In fact, to get there, we're looking for folks who are self-starters and who are self-motivated, who want to have your own side business or a full-time business operating under the business umbrella of DAC. So you're not you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself as a DAC agency owner or affiliate. Now, building your business, it all starts with you going and getting personal customers. That's the very core of our business. Agents sign up or affiliates sign up, and you're really expected to go get a few customers. How can you build a business if you're not willing to get customers? Because that's where all of the revenue is generated here. So you can earn a significant income by going out and getting personal clients on your own, or if you want to earn even more, and as we call it, affiliate income magnified, you can build a team and earn a significant amount of money through duplication and replication of teams that are building across the country. And we're going to start getting into more of that. David announced today that he has our getting started booklet about ready to go. We're expecting to see that launch sometime this week, hopefully. So we got a lot of good things going on there with team building. That leads me into our top recruiters for the week of 3/11 through 3/17. We had 3 people in the team that had at least 2 new recruits. To be named on the leaderboard, you had to have 2 or more recruits. We had 28 agents in the team as a whole that had at least 1 new recruit. So still keeping those numbers up. And, you know, I saw some people with a new recruit this week that I haven't seen on the leaderboard before. So congratulations to all of you that had at least 1 new recruit. But let's recognize our top recruiters for the week. In first place, we had Mark Politi with 3 new agents. Way to go, Mark. In second place, there was a 2-way tie between myself and Chiquita Rollins. We both had 2 new agent recruits. Again, if you are not on the leaderboard right now, but you're having conversations and you're at least inviting people to take a look at what we have to offer, then your name will be on that leaderboard before you know it. Now, real quick on inviting people to the leaderboard. I keep it really simple and I ask 3 points when I'm talking to someone about whether they're interested in looking at an opportunity. And I encourage you to write these down, okay? One, you're qualifying them to ask if they're open to making money outside of what they're currently doing. Okay, question number one, are you open to making money outside of what you're currently doing? Okay, what you're currently doing, meaning I'm not trying to take you away from your job or whatever else you're doing. Are you interested in making money outside of what you're currently doing? Question number one. Question number, if they say yes, and a lot of times they'll say, yeah, what do you have? This is where most people make a mistake and they start talking and trying to tell about the business and giving too much information before somebody gets an opportunity to see all of the information. So you want to keep it simple. Ask the opening question. The second thing is say, well, I've got something I want to show you. Okay, show. It'll only take about 15 minutes and it may or may not be a good fit. Okay, so are you open to making money outside of what you're currently doing? I have something I want to show you, not tell, okay? Because if you say show, that means you got to send them a video or do a presentation, right? So that keeps you from having to be in the spotlight of telling the story over the phone. It'll only take you about 15 minutes, and it may or may not be a good fit. May or may not be a good fit gives them an out so they don't feel pressured that you're going to want them to sign up in something, and letting them know that it'll only take about 15 minutes. Actually, you can say less than that now. It'll only take you five or so minutes to figure out if this is a good fit or not. And it may or may not be a good fit because we have 2 short videos on our partner page now. Guys, if you'll start asking that question and just cover your warm market with that question, looking for people. I can tell you there are a lot of people that are hurting today with the economy the way it is. I know some rulings just changed in the real estate market yesterday. I haven't had time to go through and read the details on that, but I stopped by my local Chamber of Commerce today and they were talking about it in there. So potentially some real estate professionals are going to be looking for other ways to make money. They're already commission based. They're already accustomed to getting paid off of their efforts and off of them going to work. They have to be self-motivated. So that's going to create some opportunities for you guys to find some folks that might be a great fit for what we have to offer here at DAC. All right. So first off, on getting customers, you got to learn the basics of our services, right? And the best way to learn the basics is to stay up to date. Go through the basic training in the Agent Resource Center, but then stay plugged in. Every week on Tuesday, we do healthcare and RX. I'm combining both under that. We used to do just the health share plans because Clearwater was doing those, but now that I've got the reins to run with this training on Tuesday, it can be health care. In fact, tomorrow, I'm going to be training on the RX fundraiser program. So you want to make sure that you can either be there live. If you're there live, you'll be able to ask questions. If not, you'll definitely want to watch the replay, which I will be sending out tomorrow evening. The replay so you guys can catch up on that, okay? And hopefully we're going to have some tools and everything ready to go for that presentation tomorrow. On Wednesday, we do funding training with Wade. Normally, Wade is our Chief Financial Officer over at Bank Breezy, our funding platform. Sometimes it's David. They kind of go back and forth on that, and it won't always be me on the healthcare, but I volunteered to do this for the next several weeks. So it'll probably be me for a while now on healthcare. And then on Friday, we do our agent update with David Rutz, our CEO and founder. All of the Zooms that we have during the day, during the week are at daczoom.com. Some people are saying that their browser is blocking that. I can tell you why, and I can give you a quick workaround. DAC Zoom is just a domain name. So it has HTTP protocol because it's forwarding. When you type in daczoom.com, it's forwarding over to the actual Zoom link. Okay. So if your browser is blocking it, then chances are you have a security set on your browser that's saying, hey, this is an unsafe website to go to because it's not secure protocol. So just look at the meeting number that I include in the email that I send out, because all you got to do is go to Zoom and enter that meeting number, and that's your workaround. And then you can save that link. But we use daczoom.com because that's easy for people to remember and a easy workaround for the majority. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. And this is our funding promotion that I mentioned, and the reason that I want to go through our funding app sequence. Okay. David announced this last week. This is a special promotion, whether you're operating and talking to people about funding or not. You need to be at least through the next couple of days, through Wednesday at close of business. Here's how it works. If you're not amped up right now, DAC is going to pay you 4%, usually 4% of the funded amount that the client gets on our bigger fundings that go through Bank Breezy. If you get a giggle client, you're not going to make 4%. That's at a reduced commission, and that only gets paid once a month, around the 20th of the month following the time that the client got funded. So we're talking about Bank Breezy fundings here, okay? The promotion was announced last week, and it goes through the 20th, which is on Wednesday, okay? Any new submissions that come in between the 13th and the 20th, they started their application. If they get funded by the end of the month, then you're going to earn, instead of 4%, you'll earn 6%. And if you're already amped up because you've been promoting funding, and let's say you're amped and already earning 6%, then you'll get paid as double amped at 7%. If you're already double amped and earning 7% on your fundings right now, then you'll get paid at triple amp. So you're going to get paid the next level up, the next bump up level in the bonus payments if you get a funding submitted by Wednesday and funded by the end of the month through Bank Breezy. So just wanted to cover that. Now, that leads me to what happens when someone applies for funding. Okay. If you haven't noticed, our funding page at davidallencapital.com/business-capital, that page has been updated. It's been streamlined a little bit. The information there has been updated. And the reason I'm doing this training tonight is I noticed on the page it says that the minimum requirements for Bank Breezy are if you're doing at least $10,000 a month. Okay, or a minimum of $10,000 a month. It used to be 15. So I'm going, okay, well, let me take a look at the app sequence and see if that's just a typo or if the app sequence is actually taking us through a $10,000 funding. So this is new. This is updated. And again, you want to be taking notes because this is real time. I just got this information today, and you are the first ones to go through a training on this. Okay. All right. So here's our DAC page, the verbiage on there. But if you scroll on down the funding page, then you're going to see again that new updated content on what the minimum requirements are, what the payback terms are, etc., on your funding page. So read through that and you'll know what the basics are. But what I want to go through is when someone clicks on one of these green Get Funded buttons, okay, it's going to take them over to the application or co-branded application with Bank Breezy, which is a product that David Allen Capital is partners in. They originally started this program, and it was a brand inside of David Allen Capital, and then they broke that out as a separate company. It is now our funding platform. So this David Allen Capital app is a co-branded page with our funding platform over at Bank Breezy. Somebody fills out the application here. I selected United States. I did not do an example for Canada. Sorry, those of you that might be working through Canada, you're going to have to go through this app on your own. But I know that we're not getting a lot of applications through Canada, so I wanted to make good use of everybody's time. You click on whether you're in Canada or the United States, and then click submit. So obviously I started with United States. Once you click submit, notice right here, just above the blue bar, it says step 1 of 5. There are 5 questions in this app sequence, and you can do a screenshot of this. I recommend that you do. If you're on a PC and you don't know how to do a screenshot, if you hit the Windows button and print screen, it'll give you a flash on the screen and it'll save it to a screenshot file. Okay. Step 1 is asking, whose name is your bank account in? Is it in your personal name or in your business name? Okay. If they select in personal name, here's what the sequence is. If they say it's in your personal name, they're going to ask, what state are you located in? Okay. If someone has a personal checking account and they live in the state of California or New York, they are going to get declined. We do not have a funding option for them. If they have a personal checking account and if they live in California or New York, Giggle is the only funding partner that we have that will work with someone operating through a personal checking account, and Giggle cannot do funding in the state of California or New York due to California and New York state regulations. Okay, so that's just cut and dried. If you get someone that's declined on that, in fact, if you get someone that's declined, there's nothing we can do unless the client did not answer the questions in the app correctly. And if that's the case, then they can just start back over in the app sequence. Okay. All right. So they said they've got a personal checking account. Let's assume that they're not in California and they're not in New York and they're in one of the other 48 states where Giggle can do funding. Then the next question, the next thing is going to say, congratulations. Based on your answers, you may qualify for instant funding up to 10,000 in under 10 minutes. So this is actually what the sequence would be if they went through the, no, I don't even want to say that. We've got the gig funding page on your site, the micro funding, that leads people to Giggle, but they actually may end up in the same sequence that we just went through. So when you're looking at your website, and let me go back over to that page, the screenshot of DAC. When you're looking at your page here, your David Allen Capital website, the business funding, the instant micro funding, and the line of credit, these first three tabs here across the top of the page, they lead to the exact same application. The exact same application. The only difference in these three pages is the message on the page or the message to market, right? So if you're talking to someone and you're sending them a link, then does it really matter which one of these pages you send them to? Probably not, unless you're talking to someone about line of credit and you send them a business funding page, they may think that's off. I personally always lead with the business funding page simply because I think it speaks to a larger audience. I love the fact that we have David Rutz, our CEO, here on the page in a short video where he's explaining what DAC is all about. And I think his credibility is just tremendous. He's one of the reasons I'm here, or he is the reason I'm here outside of what we're marketing. And I think that's a great page to lead with. But just wanted to point that out. Those first three tabs, it's only a sales page because when they click on get funded or apply now, it goes to the same application that I'm walking you through right now. Okay, so we left off here at ending up on Giggle because they had a personal account and they didn't live in New York or California and they're doing at least $3,000 a month in revenue. Okay, when they get that application, here's what's going to happen for you. You as the referring agent, as long as the client went through your link with your ID number or your username at the end of the link, you're going to get this email. Okay. Now I went through the application myself, so that's the reason my name is in the subject line here. But if it weren't me, if it were John's Automotive, it would say Bank Breezy submission started for John's Automotive in the subject line, right? I just did this as an example. And it tells you, hello, a prospective Bank Breezy client just completed the first page of the business funding application. Based on their answers, we advanced the application for completion to Giggle Finance. Guys, I can't tell you how many calls I take a week where agents have somebody that applied and they're going, it's been several days and nobody's reached out to them. And I say, okay, well, where did they get sent? And they have no clue. This first email is your clue. It tells you exactly where the client got sent. And if you'll notice, just below the pink Giggle Finance here, it says client information. It tells you their name, their phone number, their email address. And I did not enter a company name when I was going through the application. If I had, that company name would be listed there as well. Okay. And next, the next paragraph, it says details. And this is where you, as the referring agent, need to be reading the content that gets sent to you about your client. It says they stated their lowest monthly revenue was $3,000 to $10,000 operating in a business name. Okay. All right. Now, this one went to Giggle because of the revenue, and I'll show you that in just a minute. If needed, they also stated their appropriate FICO range was, and this email is not showing that, but I went through and answered some different questions, okay? And also it says, if continued with Bank Breezy, bigger funding. So look at this email as an educational email for you. It's telling you that they got sent to Giggle because they stated here's their revenue and here's their business. If they got sent to Bank Breezy, if Bank Breezy were up here where it says Giggle Finance, here's why we sent them there. On down in the email, it says if sent to Giggle. So for example, with this one, as I'm opening this email and maybe I'm new and I don't know quite what's what, and I'm trying to learn the funding process, I'd go, okay, based on their answers, we advance them to Giggle. Here's their name, here's their information. Now, all I really need to do is just go straight down to if sent to Giggle Finance to complete Giggle's app sequence because of the following, okay? And then that gives you the explanation. So color-coded, pink at the top, go down to the pink section of the email. If it's blue up here for where they got sent to Bank Breezy, then follow the blue color coding in the email. And it's really a simple training process to help you learn more about the funding. So let's go back through. I did the Giggle. Now let's do the same app sequence, and we're going to go United States. And here I answered that we have a business checking account in the business name. All right. Now, step number 2, which state are you located in? Drop down. When we have a business checking account, there's no limitations. We can fund in all 50 states, okay? And it is just the 50 states in the United States. None of the territories are outside of that as far as US goes, all right? In the last 90 days, next question, step 3, in the last 90 days, what was your lowest monthly revenue? And it gives all of these options, less than 3,000, 3,000 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 50, and 50,000 plus. This sequence right here is what is different from the video that was just recorded a couple of months ago and posted in our Agent Resource Center, because in that video, it talks about 15,000 being the minimum. When I noticed on our webpage that the minimum has been changed to 10,000 to get the bigger funding at Bank Breezy, that's what prompted me to go through this app sequence. So notice here, the options are 10 to 15,000, 15,000 to 50, and 50,000 plus. If someone selects any of those 3, it's going to go to the Bank Breezy application, okay? Next question, or next answers. If they answer less than 3,000, that's an automatic decline. We don't have anybody that'll fund them if they don't have at least 3,000 a month in the past 3 months revenue. If they're doing 3 to 10, then they're still under that $10,000 mark, and it's going to get sent to Giggle. So these first 2 on the left, they got to be doing 10,000 or more and have a business checking account to go to Bank Breezy. All right. Now the next question, step 4, asking for their FICO score. If they say it's between 400 and 450, it automatically goes to Giggle. Bank Breezy requires 450 and above. Okay. So 450 all the way up to 800s, that's going to go over to Bank Breezy if they've made it this far, and if they haven't already been kicked out and sent over to Giggle because they already had a disqualifying answer in one of the other questions, okay? If at any point in their answering, it takes them out of the Bank Breezy sequence, then it'll automatically say, based on your answers, we've sent you over to our partner at Giggle Finance, okay? But if they've made it this far, they're still in the game for Bank Breezy. And then question number 5, let me see. Let me go back one. Go back. 4 of 5, and the fifth one. Oh, the fifth one was asking, are you looking for funding, line of credit, or both? That's the next question, but they had to make it this far to be able to answer that. Okay. All right. So now they've made it to the Bank Breezy app. I'm getting another notification email, and notice I said the other one was color coded in pink for Giggle. This one is color coded all in blue because based on their answers, we advanced their application for completion to Bank Breezy funding. That's our bigger in-house platform. And again, it has the customer's name, phone number, email, and it'll have the client's name in the subject line instead of my personal name here. But again, matching up the blue Bank Breezy funding and the blue, if continued with Bank Breezy, here's why. Details is just what the questions were, how the questions were answered by the client as they completed the app. Okay. All right. So those are the notifications that you're going to receive when the client gets over to Bank Breezy. Here's what their application looks like. And this is really cool. It's got 4 stages across the top. And let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger on the screen for you. I don't know that I can. Can you read what that says, Harlequin? Is it large enough to read?
The congratulations is, but most of the rest of it is too small.
Hold on. I'm going to do stop share and I'm going to expand the size of that screenshot. So hopefully we can see it. Stop share for a moment. Let me go pull that if I can find it. Harlequin, while I'm looking for this, you and I were talking earlier about doing 3-way calls. And I know a couple of weeks ago we did the trust respect triangle, and then we really didn't go into detail on prepping for that call. But you've had a couple of calls this past week, and where agents just kind of threw you into the fire. Can you kind of talk on that, which we were going to do anyway while I'm looking for this, and then we'll come back to this slide, okay? You're muted.
Thank you.
There
Sorry
you
about
go.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that you need to be careful of whenever you're doing a 3-way call, whenever you go and you put your other person on hold and dial either myself or Ellen or another team leader, always go and before you connect the other person, ask us if now is a good time for us to talk and let us know that you have somebody on the other line and tell us just a tiny bit about them so we know what, is this a client with potential funding, potential health care, whatever, or is this a potential agent? Because I had somebody who called me and they started talking to me about this person and they never told me that the person was already linked into the call so they could hear everything that was going on, which in this particular case, it was not, I didn't say anything awkward, but there could be times when if it's somebody that we know pretty well, we might answer the phone a little bit differently if we know that they've got a client on the line. If it's a really good friend, I might answer a different way. So just always be aware of the fact that it is a business call and you need to make sure that we're in a position where we can answer in a business-like manner. And if we're not, we'll let you know that, and maybe we can say, hey, hold on just a second. Like on Friday, I was at a day-long event with my alumni organization, and I was in a sports bar all day. So when I was answering the phone, I was having to go and say, hey, hold on just a second while I'm walking out the door because it was very loud in there. So that's a good example of what might be happening.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do an example of that, setting it up for the call. Let's say that I know I'm going to be talking to a funding client, or maybe that client just calls me out of the blue and they've got questions for me. And I'm going, I don't know the answer to this. That's a great question. If you can hang on the line just a minute, let me see if I can get someone to help me. Now I'm talking to my client, right? Giving you an example here. So I get my client says, sure, hang on. I'm going to put you on hold for a second. Now, Harlequin is my go-to. So I'm going to dial up Harlequin. And when she answers, ring, ring.
Well,
Hey, Harlequin, it's Ellen. Hey, listen, I've got a client on the other line that's got some questions about funding. Is now a good time for you to help answer what they've got going on?
sure.
Okay, great. So let me give you a little bit of a intro into what's happened here. This is his second time applying, and he's run into an error in the application, and I really don't know how to handle it. But I've already asked him about his revenue. He's doing 25,000 a month, and he's looking for 15,000 to borrow, and we're stuck from here. Okay, his name is Tom. Hold on, and I'll connect you. Okay, clicking over. Hey, Tom, you're there? Great. Hey, I was lucky. I got in touch with Harlequin. I've got her on the other line here. Harlequin, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, great. Harlequin is a team leader. She's very experienced and knows a lot more about this whole funding process than I do. And like I said, I didn't want to give you the wrong answer, so I'm going to let Harlequin answer your questions. Harlequin, I'm going to turn the call over to you. Now, I'm muting out, and Harlequin's going to take the call and talk to Tom. See how we set that up? I edified Harlequin with her experience, but most importantly, leading into it, I asked her if now was a good time. She said yes, and then I gave her a little bit of background on where Tom is in the process. And if we didn't have that background, we're good at asking the questions, but it really helps if you prepare us for that. It makes you look better, right? Then your client is not on the phone having to re-explain everything because you've kind of queued them up in the process of doing that introduction. So great intro there. Appreciate that. Was there anything else before we go back over that slide?
Yeah, well, I would add one thing. You were saying he's doing this amount in revenue and this is the amount of money that he's looking for, and it was a reasonable amount. So, if you go and you've talked to somebody and they're doing $25,000 a month and they're looking for $100,000, they're not going to be eligible for what they're only going to be eligible for 25, maybe at the absolute most 50,000.
Okay, so good point there. So let's say that I've got Tom on the line. He's doing 25,000 a month and he's wanting to borrow 50,000, right? And I'm telling you that before I connect him on the phone. And are you going to tell me that he's not going to qualify, or are you going to be the one telling the client that?
It's going to depend upon the agent that I'm talking to, because if it's somebody absolutely brand new, um, I would go ahead and tell them and explain so that the new agent can hear me explain that. If it's somebody who's been around for a while, it's like I would go and say, well, hey, you realize that they're not eligible for that amount. Have you discussed that with them? Because sometimes, you know, the 50,000, they're they're potentially close to what they can get, but you kind of need to go and explain to them how, the fact that they're only eligible for 75% up to two times their monthly revenue. And with new agents, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to go and explain, okay, how you can go and build up to that amount over time and find out, you need to find out if, you know, in some cases, they don't necessarily need the whole 50,000 right away, or a smaller amount will help get them to the next step so that they can go and increase their revenue to 35, 40,000, and then they can get the additional funding.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to turn the roles here for a minute, and I'm going to be you talking to
Okay.
Tom after we've verified that Tom is doing 25. He's looking for 50, and I'm just gonna leave it irregardless of who that agent is. I'm gonna go ahead and make good use of everybody's time rather than leaving the client on the line while I'm trying to explain something to the agent. I'm gonna say, okay, great. Thanks for the info on that. I'll take the call from here. And then I would talk to Tom. Hey, Tom, Ellen Winn, pleasure to meet you. Harlequin has told me that you're doing about 25,000 a month and you've run into a glitch here in the application. Can you tell me what's going on? What your question is? Get him through that first so I understand where he is so that I'm not just jumping in and saying, hey, you're not going to get qualified for the amount that you're wanting, right? Because that's not how I'm going to present it. But I'll find out where he's at, and then I'll say, okay, so you're doing 25 a month. How much is it that you're looking for? And then let him say, hey, I'm looking for 50,000. And then I would break it to him and I'll say, well, let me go ahead and put this out there on our requirements and potential approval amounts. You're at the very top end of what we would be able to qualify you for, which is double whatever your monthly revenue is. But honestly, with you at 25 a month, you're probably going to get an offer for considerably less than double at this point, just because you're not doing a lot higher revenue. So if we could get you, say, half of that or a portion of that, would that help you in your path of trying to accomplish what it is you're trying to do with additional funds? And I would go down that path with him and just create that rapport with the client and talk to the client. And in that, the agent that did the three-way call, they're sitting back and listening and hopefully taking notes. And you're explaining to the client and the agent is hearing. So both of them are learning in that process and being able to take that next step. So Harlequin was absolutely 100% correct. I'm just explaining our two different ways that we could approach it, right?
Yeah.
So just wanted to kind of give you that insight.
Well,
Anything else? I've got that slide ready to go.
yeah, I will say part of the reason why I was saying that is I personally had an agent call me this afternoon where she had a client that was doing normally 8,000, but the winter their revenue has been lower and they ended up being declined probably because they were below 5,000, which they're in California, so they're not a giggle prospect. But they were looking for 50,000, which they're
Oh.
not going to get anywhere near that. And this agent knew that, but had not gone through that process. So just keep in mind that that is potentially an issue.
All right, and I'm going to do two things. We're going to go back to that slideshow that I was on earlier. Let me do screen share again. And we are, one of these is back on. There we go. The Google slide. The congratulations, you are pre-approved, where we were going through the app sequence earlier. Hopefully you can read this a little bit better. So one stop for the best offer and fast. Let's get started. So it's asking for the business owner to fill out information about their business. Notice everything in red is required. It has to be filled in by the business owner. Office phone, federal tax ID, business type. There's a drop down there for them. Does your business accept credit cards? Yes or no? Do you currently have an outstanding merchant cash advance that's required? They answer yes or no. How much are you looking for? This is what tells our team how much the client is looking for. It's all the way to this last page here on the actual application, and what is your average monthly revenue. So those two questions, once they do the blue button after they've answered everything, continue. Then they're required, step 2 up here says upload documents, which they need their last 3 months bank statements, full PDF downloads from their bank, not scanned copies, not just front. It's got to be full front and back, which comes directly from their bank. So they need to log into their online banking portal, download the previous 3 months bank statements as separate files, and they're going to upload each PDF document as a single file. So that here we are in March, they would do December, January, and February. That's the last 3 closed months, right? They would upload that, and then it says customer information, or I mean, the documents, they're also going to upload a copy of a voided check and a copy of their driver's license, and then customer information or owner information. They're going to fill out that form, again, paying close attention to how they've answered it. Then they're going to review everything in step 4. They'll review everything that they filled in to make sure that it's accurate. And if it is accurate, then they'll proceed with an e-signature. And then once they submit that e-signature, they'll get an online confirmation screen. That is when everything has been submitted and received over at Bank Breezy. Then back to the emails, you will receive an email saying all docs received, or it'll say completed application or all docs received. One of those two, you'll get that email. If you do not get that email, that next email saying that everything's been submitted, that means that the client only filled out the page on your website and they did not proceed any further. So here's where you knowing and understanding the process is key. Now, one other thing I want to show you is over at the Agent Resource Center, when you first open this up through your back office, it takes you to the getting started page of your website. The business funding video has everything in it that you need to know about funding other than that $10,000 update that I just gave you. And then we have, oh, they've moved it. Good. So the business funding, you want to go to business funding tab across the top here. You've got business funding training video again. David talking about the rates and this quick reference guide. This is another key in your learning process, is having this quick reference guide available. Let me see what's going on. The page is still trying to open. There we go. It is opening up. And my table of contents, the Bank Breezy funding, I'm going to go over to page 3 because my client got sent to Bank Breezy. And here is the funding reference chart. Notice down here under process, this bottom half of the page, it says 1, they complete and sign the application, upload bank statements, driver's license, voided check. You received that email. There's a little blue email symbol here at the end of the email, at the end of that process line. That's when you get an email saying that it's completed and signed. Then Bank Breezy assigns point of contact. Bank Breezy finds best offers. If the client accepts the offer contract requested from provider, you'll get that email in most cases, but sometimes it'll go through so quickly from out for offers to funding and funded. It can happen so fast that the system doesn't even have time to catch up. But learning the process, it's all right there for you in the quick reference guides. Okay. So I just wanted to cover that.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
There's actually after they complete and sign the application, whenever they review to make sure that all the information has been received, they're now sending an email to both us and to the client saying that all of the documents were received and reviewed and it's been sent to the lender.
Oh yeah, thank you. I forgot to say that the client's getting that email. All right. So with that said, I always prepare my client. I'll say, okay, when you get this, and I have a little template that I send out. When I send them my link, I send a template that says, here are the documents you're going to need, listing them out with bullet points. And then I say, after it's submitted, expect an email from submissions. And then after you get that email and they're out for an offer, then expect a phone call. And write this down. That phone call is going to be from either an 803 or a 248 area code. Remember, our funding office is in Greenville, South Carolina. So when the Bank Breezy submissions team tries to call your client needs to be on the lookout for that. A lot of people don't answer calls from someone if they're not saved as a contact in their phone. And if you don't prep them for that, to be on the lookout for those two area codes, 803 or 248, then your client may not answer the call. And that's where we end up trying to chase them down to make an offer to them. And that's where we say that 80% of the offers that are made to the client get accepted, but we're missing that number if we can't get in touch with the client. Okay. So encourage your client to do that. You can be that liaison in the middle to help that connection take place. Okay. All right. So that's all I had to cover. Let's open up for questions and then we will wrap up. This took a little bit longer than I intended, but I'm glad we had an opportunity to cover this tonight. Anybody got questions? Remember, tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern time, I'm going to be going through on our healthcare training. We're going to be talking about the RX fundraiser platform and how you can go out, the marketing tools that we have and things to say and do as far as the fundraising process goes. I see James has a hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hey, James, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, hello, everybody. I'm doing fine.
Good, good.
Quick question. Happy Monday. I forgot to say that. Okay. I think I missed it when you were showing the boxes for their average monthly. The email that goes out said they stated a certain amount. Is that something that they type in, or is it all, or is all of it on a drop down?
Yeah, no, let me clarify. Your question on the email that gets sent out to us as agents, is that what you're referring to?
No. When they're in the app and the question is asked, what is their average monthly? Is it a drop down or do they type in that amount?
Yeah, no, they're not typing it in until they get to that final application. When they're in the app sequence itself, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Right.
they're selecting a little box that shows a range like 3,000 to 5,000, 5,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 15, 15 to 50, or 50,000 plus.
Okay. The reason I asked that question is because that part of it, I did notice, but I thought I had missed something earlier about their monthly average. When just now, when Harlequin was referring to the call she got today that was in California, she did mention in what she said about California and New York had to have a minimum of 5,000 with a business bank account in order to go forward. So when I heard her say the 5,000 then, because I had sent a message, email to support just the other day to get a clarification on that. So in other words, since they don't type in anything, if they're doing 6,000 a month or 8,000 a month, 3 consecutive months, they're still going to giggle. For in before, when we were doing 5,000, they would go to breathe. So that's just no longer applies, period, right?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because when I was covering that, if they're in New York or California, they're automatically going to get declined unless they have a business checking account doing at least 5,000. And then they're going to need to come back through the app sequence. Okay. And this is where you as the agent have to know how this works. Okay. So if they're in one of those two states, they took the state off of the email, and I need to remind David to see what happened that got removed. So when you see that you've got one that was declined for the state of actually Georgia and California automatically get rerouted over to Bank Breezy. If the client said they had a business checking account but low revenue, they'll automatically get sent over there. If you have someone that is doing over that they initially got sent to Giggle because of their answers, and after you talk to them, if they would have should have qualified to go to Bank Breezy. I've had many times where I've talked to a client and they say, well, I've talked to a client and I've told them what to expect in the application sequence. And then they text me back and they say I was declined. And I'm going, well, that was really quick. They don't get declined that quickly and without getting sent to Giggle or answering the question wrong based on what he told me. And I'll go, let's talk for a minute. I'll call them and I'll say, when you got to the revenue, what did you say? And he said, well, I answered 5,000, because a lot of times people will misread the revenue question and they'll answer it as if what they're looking for, not how much they're actually doing. So you got to make sure that you ask that question clearly. Harlequin, if I didn't answer James's question, you're welcome to jump in on that, or James, you can restate if I didn't answer that.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. I understood everything you said. Now, the other question I have is, it used to be that when they got declined at Giggle, the picture, the image that came up on the screen was that in California, in New York, it had to be 5,000. Let's see, at the bottom of that image, it said it had to be 5,000 plus with a business bank account. Does that picture come up anymore, or is it just you, or you didn't qualify for this, so that's it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's just a generic slide. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I would think that would be something that you need to ask the client to get a little bit deeper on. But I know they did automate the sequence if they're in California or New York, that they automatically get rerouted over to Bank Breezy as long as they're doing 5,000 in revenue and had a business checking account. Let me go back up. I'm over at my slides to see what that option is.
Yeah, because yeah, that's the way that it used to be. So when the when they changed, especially what's on our replicated page, we're at 10,000, and you went through the sequence a little while ago, and it's in there instead of 15, it's 10, showing the minimum. So yeah, I was just wondering if
Yeah,
we're
no, it's showing the standard in the last 90 days. What was your lowest monthly revenue? Less than 3, 3 to 10, 10 to
right.
15, 15 to 50, and 50,000. So
Okay, I hope it didn't
okay.
confuse anybody.
Yeah, no, you're going to run into that on a very small percentage, and that's going to be one where you know what you're talking about, and you'll know the right questions to ask your client on that.
Right.
Because 90% of the time when somebody gets declined, I'm getting a call anyway, and they're going, hey, they declined my client. Why? What was the reason? So we have an opportunity to talk through that process. All right. Good questions, though. All right. Thank you, James. And let's go over to Terrence. Hi, Terrence. How are you doing tonight? Uh-oh, I'm sorry. You were unmuted and I hit mute. Let's try that again. There
Hey,
you go.
Ellen, the Lord bless you tonight. I just got a quick question, and thank you. In regards to what you just said, you had a template that you kind of pull from when you're talking to clients, and you said you had bullet points. Is that template available online anywhere or in the back office, or
It's not, but I can make it available.
that would be great? Because I learned so much tonight. It's a lot to take in, but that would be great.
Yeah, I can do that. I can put it in a shared drive. Harlequin, you'll have to remind me to do this. I won't do it tonight and I won't do it tomorrow. I've
Okay.
got a jam-packed schedule, but I'll get that out this week. And I've actually got some I use templates in Gmail. That's my main Gmail is my main email system where
Yes.
I'm communicating to and from clients. And Gmail has a template platform where it's one of the add-ons. If you're not familiar, not just you, Terrence, but anybody that's listening, if you use Gmail and you're not familiar with templates, go to YouTube and under search, type in how to use templates in Gmail. And I guarantee you there's several videos in there with someone breaking down how to use templates. So I create templates in my email. So, you know, if I shared a template with Harlequin earlier that I had created a template for business owners that have more than 25 employees on healthcare. Here are the bullet points I'm sending on healthcare. And I just sent that over to her, but I have it as a template. So all I have to do is insert the client's email address that or prospective client's email address that I'm sending it to, open up my templates, populate it, and it automatically populates the subject line and the body of the email. And then I just need to put his or her name in it to personalize the first line or two and hit send. So I can send information emails like that out in less than a minute because I have them saved as templates. And I'm happy to share that with you guys and help you guys up your game on professionalism and consistency on the message that you're sending out. Okay. Thank you for asking about that, Terrence.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Yeah, you bet. You as well. All right, guys, if we don't have any other questions, I don't see any hands up, anything in the chat that needs to be addressed, Harlequin.
No, the chat is totally quiet. Just a reminder for everybody though, if you have been with DAC for more than a year, make sure you log into your back office and renew your business if you've not done so yet.
Yeah, you'll keep seeing those reminders coming out, but it doesn't hurt to say it every week. Just like the signature of my email keeps reminding everyone that we're on a timeline here to get qualified for the 7-level bump up. So bringing it back around over and over again so that you guys get the message. All right, I hope to see you guys on our healthcare Zoom tomorrow. Come out and learn about the RX program so that we can go forth and multiply our numbers of people that we're helping in our communities and the revenue that goes through your business and the money that ends up in your bank account. All right, we'll see you tomorrow on the Healthcare Zoom, 11:30 a.m., daczoom.com. Good night, everyone.